Welcome to Second Take. My name is Tate Mannion. I'm with hosts with Gavin Dooley and Chris Redditt. We have special guests today, Lev Simkai and Joseph Duarte, and also a very big, important guest. We have Skip Bayless, aka
He's
Jordan
not
Hoover,
currently in the meeting.
and he is joining very soon.
Let him in.
First topic today: the Brooklyn
All right.
Nets. That's
Well,
the
my
real
name is
question. Are they
Gavin Dooley.
contenders? How was the game last night? Gavin, start us off.
My name is Gavin Dooley. It's a pleasure to be here. The Brooklyn Nets riding a 6-game winning streak, currently an NBA best 12-4 versus teams that are 500 or over, and they are currently sitting half a game out of the first place in the East behind the 76ers. Are you all in on the Nets hype?
I'm just going to start it off now. I am in on the Nets. I think they are the best team in the NBA. The defense was a problem in the start. The bench has stepped up. They're looking like a team. They got the best offense of all time. And I think they're making a strong run at this at the finals. And there's no first round exit this year.
All
right.
Oh, you can go. Or,
And I'll let you go. I'll go after.
All right. I would have to disagree with the part where you say the best offense of all time. I don't think that's true. I mean, you have 3 MVP caliber players, as you know, can score the ball. Top offense of all time. I don't agree with. And you talked about the teams with the over 500 record. They have best record against teams over 500, but under 500, you can't take that out. They're 5-8 against 500 teams, under 500 teams, and it's a big thing when you're a team competing for a championship. You can't ever underestimate a team that you're playing. It doesn't matter the record. It's the NBA. They're all top, whatever, 100 players in the world playing right now, and you can never underestimate a team just because their record. Like a team, like for instance, the Wizards. They had the worst record, and they lost twice to them because they came and thinking it was an easy game, and everything just went downhill from there against the Wizards. And I mean, the Nets, I think, are
Wrong.
going to make a deep playoff run, but I don't see them making the finals against some of the teams that are in the East.
All right, you see there, Lev, that's where you're wrong.
That is that's a
they've
respectful opinion.
All right.
You've gotten over their previous problems. Kyrie and Harden have mixed perfectly. Harden is the point guard, and Kyrie has accepted that.
He's accepted that role.
Harden knows that what he has to do. He just wants to win. He's averaging.
But we've seen a combined, I think it's 5 games, something like that, where all 3 of them
6-game win streak without Kevin Durant.
Because they're better. I'm telling you, look at their record with 2 superstars. When Harden got traded to the Nets, when it was just Harden and KD, they won 3 games. Then Kyrie came back. Hold on, let me load this up. Then they lost to the Cavs twice. They beat the Heat twice, and they lost to the Hawks and the Wizards. And then KD got injured, and now they're on a 6-game winning streak. So they're 9-1 with 2 superstars, because when you have 3 superstars who are all ball dominant and scorers, it's hard to keep the ball between them 3. That's why Harden wasn't playing well. If you have 2 superstars, you play well. I look at other than the Warriors in the last 5 years, teams that do really well, like the Rockets with CP3 and Harden, the Lakers with LeBron and AD. 2 superstars and then a bunch of role players make a team good. But having 3 ball dominant players, not even ball dominant, because KD isn't ball dominant, but having 3 ISO scorers, just it's not going to lead to wins.
So Chris, you don't believe in this Nets hype?
I'm believing in them more because their defense has kind of turned up a little bit lately. I still don't fully believe in it because it's only been 2 games.
I'm going to keep it.
But they're the 2nd seed, so I think that the Sixers, Lakers, and Clippers are better right now. Maybe the Bucks.
Little opinion, but I think the games that matter, they've won them all, right? The teams, these bums that are not going to see the playoffs, not going to see the first round, it doesn't really matter. This regular season, it doesn't really matter for the Nets. I feel like they're turning up now because they see an audience that wants to see them do good with 3 superstars. They keep on they have doubters, right? They want to play these games that actually count. They went into the West. They're undefeated in the West. They took out all the teams. They beat the Clippers twice. They're no match for any simple team. I think the bench is stepping up, and I think they're making a a strong push. And I don't want to hear about no AD on the Lakers. I think they can beat them with AD. It would be an even closer game. I think they're going to the finals with ease.
They don't have any big men that can guard AD or Joel Embiid.
DeAndre Jordan.
Alright.
DeAndre
That
Jordan
is the
cannot
man.
guard the.
That
He
is the
cannot
man.
guard the
This is where I
perimeter.
come in. This is where I come in.
I'd like to hear what
No,
No,
Skip
but
has
listen,
to say.
listen. What
Sim
Tate,
Kai,
you're-
Sim Kai.
It's my
Let,
turn.
let,
Hey,
let's
I want to
skip.
hear what
Let's skip
Skip has
talk.
to say.
Let me come in,
I wanna
let me
hear what
come
Skip
in.
got to say.
All right. So you're talking about. Let me turn my camera. So you're talking about how the Lakers. You're saying that the Nets lost games against terrible opponents. Look at the Lakers. They went to overtime twice against the Thunder. They didn't have Shy, and then they also nearly beat the Pistons. So you're telling me that under 500 games don't matter? This team can't beat anyone without AD, and even with AD back, I see the Sixers as more as a threat than the Nets are to the Lakers. But let me tell you why. AD, when he went against Embiid, like before LeBron fouled him, clear flagrant, but LeBron just gets biased with the rest. Embiid was dominating Anthony Davis. Like he was the man in the paint. And I think that the Sixers, if they can hold AD down, because LeBron, he just goes with AD. Like no AD, it's not even like an argument. But if they can hold down AD, the Sixers are beating the Lakers. The Nets are, because the Nets, I don't care what anyone says, the Nets have the best offense in the league. It's better than the Warriors. I don't care. Like I really don't care. I don't care.
The thing
They
is, the
have
Sixers would have to
Warriors.
make it to the finals to do that, and you think the Nets are
Sixers
going to
aren't a
beat
playoff
them.
team.
So
The Nets-
I see what you're saying. If the Sixers go to the finals and play the Lakers, they're a good matchup. But you're saying the Nets would beat them. There's
The
only
Nets would
one
beat-
East team that
The
would go
Nets
to the
would beat them
finals.
too.
I
Who's
don't
guarding-
think the Nets
who's
would beat
guarding
them.
Kevin Durant,
LeBron.
Kyrie, and Harden. Tell
You
me.
can't guard three
They don't really
superstars
have
as well.
anyone to guard Kyrie. They don't really
Exactly.
have anyone to guard one or the other.
have
But
no one.
one of them's going to get their
Guarding
scoring. They'll be
AD.
fine with that.
They're all dropping 40 points a game.
In that fourth
There's no way
quarter,
you can guard
Nobody
all
can guard
of them.
Jamal
They're
Murray.
never losing a fourth quarter. They're winning every
Kyrie would
time.
guard Jamal Murray.
Never losing fourth quarter. They blew
Jamal
a 50
Murray.
last night.
They're not going to go to the
I'm talking about
finals.
in the playoffs last year.
Who, the
Jamal Murray's a
Nets? The
nobody.
Nets don't have.
He's a nobody.
Oh my God, the Nets don't have Kevin Durant. Like, is this even an argument?
No, I'm talking
But
about
the Nets have
who,
played
the
so
Lakers.
well
The Lakers
without
let
Kevin Durant.
Lakers played obviously like Kyrie and Harden are better than Russ and Harden, but they played Russ and Harden in the playoffs last year and beat them pretty handily. They can handle guards, and LeBron can guard KD pretty well if he just needs to try for one series.
Harden,
I
Kevin
don't know if
Durant,
LeBron can do it
and
all.
Kyrie is different than Westbrook and Harden. Two dominant ISO ball handlers too. I know Harden and Kyrie are both.
I don't
like
think the
ISO ball
Bucks.
down the
I don't.
court.
I mean, I don't think the Nets can handle a big man that can hit perimeter shots.
That's what I was just gonna say. I think
That's
you guys
That's an
are
issue.
the Bucks because look, the Bucks are like built to play the Nets. They have Drew Holiday who will guard Kyrie. They have Chris Middleton, who's a 3-and-D player who can guard Harden and hold him to his own. Giannis, the reigning defensive player of the year, is gonna guard KD. And you're saying, oh, we're saying you don't have a big man. You're saying DeAndre Jordan. You start DeAndre Jordan, Brook Lopez is feasting on the perimeter. There's no way DeAndre Jordan can even come close to guarding him there. And then say you start either the Jeff Green or Bruce Brown at your center position, or you start playing them there, then Brook Lopez is going to eat inside. And I just don't think they just have a liability with their big man. If they can somehow get a trade to find some sort of a decent big man that can guard perimeter and post, I think they will be a lot better equipped to go deep in the playoffs and maybe make a playoffs run. But I don't see pieces that they can trade because I don't think they're going to trade a Joe Harris. They gave up the next 8 years of their draft capital to get Harden. No one wants an old aging Jeff Green. I mean,
He's a great player for them.
if for them,
He's a
exactly.
great-
but
I would
another
say he's a
team-
great player.
Another
The thing
team,
is,
They're not going to trade him. He
Like
spreads the
if
floor
Brook
for them.
Lopez
They're
can
not going to
hit
trade him.
threes, then the Bucks can easily win. They don't really have anyone to guard Harden. Chris Middleton's a solid defender, but he's not guarding Harden. But then Drew Holiday will play really good defense on Kyrie, and Giannis is the best defender for KD in the NBA. So if anyone can guard them, it's them. I mean, they almost beat them.
But then
It
there's
was a close
Harden.
game.
That's the issue that's going to be with
These
every
are
single
all
team.
great
But in
teams, but I
every
think we're
every
gonna have
top
to-
team, there's going to be one player. Like who's guarding KD's all right on Giannis, I guess. But the thing is, if DeAndre Jordan's pulled out of the paint because he needs to guard Brook Lopez, then Giannis can feast.
Well, the
'Cause
issue
KD
with
can't
them
guard
is
Giannis in the post.
when they're going against like a shooting perimeter like center, they're just going to have like Jeff Green guard him, and that's not terrible, but
they'll play in
they
the
could do
post.
better.
They'll play in the
What do you
post.
mean?
Because Brook Lopez can play anywhere. He can play
Dude,
in the post.
the Bucks are
Well, they're
not
gonna
making it
have
out of the
to
East.
run Jeff Green.
The Bucks are not making it out of the East. Like, I'm sorry, but they're just not.
These are all great
What is-
takes, so I think we
alright,
have to
but
move
what is-
it
what is-
on.
Nah, 30 more seconds. The Bucks are not making it out of the
Give
East.
them 30 more
I
seconds.
don't think they
Bucks
are
not making it
either.
out of the East. That's
I think the
They're not.
Sixers are.
You have them as winning the East, though?
Hold on, like one more minute.
I never said
I-
that.
I think the Sixers are winning. I've been
Sixers
saying
or
for the last
Nets?
3
All right,
years.
hold up. I
All
want
the
everyone's
Sixers needed
opinion.
were
Who do
shooters.
you think is coming out of the East on top?
Nets.
I think the Nets.
Sixers. The Sixers beat the
Nets.
Nets in
Gavin,
6.
Gavin, what do you got to say?
I'm gonna have to go with the Nets. I do
The
see
deciding
Chris's-
factor
the addition of
is going to
Seth
be
Curry. The
Embiid.
addition of Seth Curry was very big for them, but
And
they
also,
can't keep up with.
the Sixers might be getting Kyle Lowry.
Sorry.
No, I think the
Chris, who do you think's coming out of the East?
If the Sixers get Kyle Lowry, I
Lowry,
think they're
maybe.
winning.
The Sixers get Kyle Lowry, they're unanimously winning, and I still
I
think
think they're
they're
winning,
winning
yeah.
because
If-
they're built for the playoffs.
But I still think the Nets can take them easily. It's Embiid's just going to be the deciding factor. So he's like the most dominant player in the league right now.
Yeah, if
My
Embiid is
opinion.
healthy.
Yep. All right.
Lev, who do you
I
think's
think
coming out of
also
the
a
East?
big. I think also. I mean, I'm still gonna go with the 76ers, but I don't think the Nets are making it out of the East because you're gonna have to realistically face either the Bucks or the 76ers, and I think both teams match up.
The Nets beat the Bucks without KD. And I think it was Kyrie. I'm not sure, though. I think it was only KD. The Nets are beating the
It was
Bucks
without
every time.
Kyrie, and it was with KD.
All right. Yeah. The Bucks are beating. The Bucks are not beating the Nets. Like, end of discussion.
You say the Bucks aren't beating the Nets.
You
just
say that-
saying-
You say that.
they can match up well, but do you really believe that they can beat them in 7 games, or is this kind of like?
Yes, I do, and I was gonna say I think Drew Holiday is the X factor. He's a player that can go get you 18 points a game.
Do you? He gets more than that. But do you really see the Bucks like using Rook Lopez as much as you said that they're gonna need to use him to win? Like they're not gonna incorporate him that much like in their
Yes, if
offense
you're-
to be.
We're gonna have
If
to
you're
wrap it up
anywhere
here.
close to a strategic.
Yeah, move it. You gotta move it on.
All right.
All
we're
right.
gonna
Nets.
move it on.
Nets coming out of the East.
There's
Nets will come out of
been
the East. That's what I think.
Yeah, they
multiple.
are.
There's been multiple quarterback trades. Matthew Stafford to the Rams, and recently Carson Wentz to the Colts. Which team do you think is in better position to make a playoff run?
All right. You want me to start? I'm gonna
Yeah,
start.
we started off.
Okay, so both teams I think are in like a great playoff position. The Rams had a terrible quarterback. Jared Goff is the most overrated quarterback in the league to me. He was a system quarterback and he performed terribly. Any quarterback with those weapons in that line should be excelling, and they just couldn't do it with him because he's just not that good of a quarterback for them. They were run dominant, and he was just a system QB, and it didn't work. Now with Matthew Stafford, Matthew Stafford's never had an offensive weapons that he'll have now with a great line. He'll have great wide receivers, running back, etc. I think the Rams are contenders to go to the Super Bowl because they not only do they have the top defense in the league, but now they have like arguably like a top, I'd say top 5 offense it could be. And with the Colts also, I don't know what they're doing with Phillip Rivers, but Carson Wentz, he's with this old offensive coordinator. I forgot his name, but with this, he won his MVP with this coach because he's his offensive coordinator and now he's the head coach. And Wentz doesn't like hard coaching, like he's kind of soft. So that's like one of the reasons like why he just wasn't able to like succeed in Philly after he left. And now with him and with a healthy, like they have a top O line. Now with the top O line compared to the Philly, he really had no weapons when he won MVP there. So it's basically the same scenario with that. So I think that Carson Wentz can go back to his MVP form. I think he could become a top 10 quarterback and they could go pretty far because they also have a top defense. So I think they can
I
make it to
don't
the
think he's
AFC
gonna go back
Championship.
to MVP form, but I do agree. Also, I think the Colts,
Top 10
their
quarterback.
defense is really good. I think Jonathan Taylor is going to break out. I think he's going to be well, he already basically did break out his rookie year. I think he's going to be like one of the best running backs in the league. That's someone who I definitely want to pick.
Yeah,
in
any
fantasy.
running back with that O line like can excel.
Their receivers aren't that good though. They have like Michael Pittman, T.Y. Hilton.
Yeah, but
but-
Wentz didn't have that good receivers.
Yeah, he was put in a
so it doesn't
horrible
matter.
situation last year. Like as bad as he played, he couldn't do that well in the situation. I think the Colts are going to go 12-4, and I think they're going to make the AFC
Yeah,
championship.
especially with Deshaun looking like he's going to be out of that division. They look like
Yeah.
the Titans. They look like the clear runners in that division.
Yeah, I'm going to say the same thing. I think the Colts are the front runners for a 12-4 season. I think they can make the championship game, and I think they can go to the Super Bowl. They have a great quarterback now. I think Carson Wentz has a great line.
They're not beating the Chiefs.
And
You got to
I
show great
don't know,
QB.
man.
Relax.
They almost beat the
For
Bills.
real.
So
I know we
Rams,
propping them a lot,
Bills.
but they ain't
Alright,
beating
I
the
gotta-
Chiefs. Bills.
Carson Wentz, I think, is going back to MVP form. They have a great running back, a great offensive
No.
line.
I'm gonna have
and
to
one
shut
of the
you
best
down right
defenses in the
there.
league, so
I think they're gonna be improved. I don't think they're winning the division. They'll be a wild card team. The reason is Carson Wentz.
They're
is
gonna
still-
win more games than the Titans. They're gonna win that
they'll win
division.
more games than the Titans. I think
even if they win, I still don't think they're going far.
Yeah,
He's
Titans
still-
really don't have an O line
his
or a
stats
D
don't
line.
back it up. He has the wide receivers are not much better. However, he does have the O line. So personally, I would think maybe they win a wild card game. As with the Rams, they have a top 10 QB put together with a top line, a good running back, decent receivers, and the best defense. So I think the Rams are probably a top 3 team in the NFC after the addition of Stafford.
Already arguably were before too. And the Saints, they're in so much like the salary like issues with that team. They're gonna fall apart, and I don't even think they're making the playoffs honestly because they're gonna have to sell everyone.
They're gonna have to. I don't know if
These people.
Jameis Winston's gonna leave them.
Yeah, but
Are
they're
they
so
still trying to
far-
trade for Sam Donald?
They go and get Darnold.
No,
They're
They're not getting Darnold.
The
think
Rams
trade
are
him.
the Rams are gonna be really good too.
I know.
The fact that they went
thought they were-
11-5 with Jared Goff.
Yeah, Jared Goff's awful. His
Plus
career's
Cam
gonna end in
Akers too is
Detroit.
really good.
Cam
And
Akers is
they'll
good.
have Cooper Cup. I'm pretty sure. Do they have a good O line? They have a. pretty
Yeah, they
good
have, like, a
O-line, right?
top O-line.
Yeah.
They have a good O
But they
line.
have great
Wait,
receivers.
Matthew Stafford is one of the most
Wow.
underrated QBs ever. It's just because he was stuck in Detroit.
Stafford's good.
Yeah.
I think they're Super Bowl contenders.
I agree with
Yeah, the NFC is kind of wide open next
People
year.
love-
I agree with the Rams and the you guys saying about the Rams and the Colts. I do agree that the Rams will be a top NFC threat to go to the championship game. But I also want to go back on some of Jordan's points. If I don't think Carson Wentz has ever won an
He was
MVP.
going to win.
I think he came in second.
I think
I
he
don't
was.
think he
He was
ever won.
candidate.
He was going
He was
to
top
win.
5 candidate.
Yeah, and then you saying that Matt Stafford has never had an offensive weapons like he has in the
He didn't have a line. He had
Jaguars
receivers.
or the like he
Yeah,
has on
he
the
had
Rams right now.
Calvin
I don't
Johnson.
know if you've ever seen a guy named Megatron. You know, he had him for a while. He was a pretty good player. So I think I mean, obviously I think
He never had the weapons combined with the
I
defense.
think he
Yeah,
he was
I
referring to
understand
the
that, but,
line.
like,
He was
Lions
referring
never
to
had a
the
great
line.
defense. Never had a great
never
offensive
had
line.
yeah, but
Didn't even have a
I mean,
threat.
He also
still
had
think-
Galladay. Galladay is one of the best receivers.
I think they do have
Holiday. Who
they
He's
do have a
still.
real chance to make it to the championship. I still think they're gonna. I don't see a healthy Chiefs team is really hard to beat. Like they weren't fully healthy in the Super Bowl this year. I mean, because you guys are talking.
No
so,
line.
Yeah,
They're not good. They're not going to win the Super Bowl, but they.
But you guys are talking so heavily on the O line for the Rams right now for Matt Stafford. Like you have to kind of give credit to the Chiefs where they were. Their whole O line was just injured in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, their former first overall pick was injured.
You could see it.
Eric Fisher.
Rush looked like there was nobody even blocking for Mahomes.
Oh, the Chiefs, yeah.
And I mean, I think a fully healthy Chiefs team. I mean, you get somewhat of a recovered Sammy Watkins who can be a weapon. You have all those wide receivers. You have, I mean, Tyreek.
I don't think anyone's arguing that the Colts are going to beat the Chiefs.
No, I know. I'm just saying more on the point of the arguing against the Rams winning.
Oh, I don't think they're. The thing
put a
is, the NFC this year. I don't know if the Packers are going to have another season like that. I don't think the Saints are going to be as good.
I mean, I
Tom
still
Brady's turning 44. I feel like
Anyone
I still
can
think that like anyone in the NFC can win. I think it's, in my opinion, I think the top 3 right now are the Bucks, Seahawks, and Rams.
and
Because I don't think the Packers are going to be as good.
I also think like
I gotta keep the Packers in there.
Actually, yeah, I'll keep the Packers.
the argument with
Definitely not the Saints.
like that you were gonna say with the Tom Brady. Oh, he's turning 43. I think like there's like
44.
44. Sorry, I think there's like 2 players that you can really just throw that like stigma out for.
Yeah,
LeBron,
yeah,
Tom
them
Brady.
too.
You saw everybody was doubting Tom Brady, and then goes and puts out I could say, and someone could say MVP type numbers.
Yeah, he had like 42 TDs.
And I mean, LeBron is the same thing. They're still staying at a steady rate of where they are. And I mean, you get a healthy Bucks team back next year, it's going to be hard. I mean, because they were missing OJ Howard a lot. You know, Tom Brady obviously loves his tight ends. They play a very heavy tight end game. And,
they're probably the best all around team in the league.
I think we're gonna switch gears and let's talk
I
about Tom
actually have a
Brady.
little follow-up question. Who do you think is going to be the Dolphins this year, going from one of the worst teams to
Oh,
most years they make
Giants,
Tough.
Giants.
You want to be biased? That's okay.
Nah.
Who do you
No,
think?
it's factual. It is
I
the
haven't
Giants.
I haven't thought about
All right,
that.
let's see. I'd like to hear. Why do you think the Giants?
The Giants, what they built like Joe Judge built like a culture in New York. And they have a young team, they have a great defense. They have their secondary now is one of the best in the league. They have a great secondary. The only issue is that Dan Jones doesn't have. He needs what Josh Allen got with Stephon Diggs. He just needs that number one wide receiver option, and they're gonna get that in the
More than a
draft.
wide receiver. I'm gonna tell you
Oh,
that.
he also
need a
he
lot
needs
more
a
than a
O
wide receiver.
he needs an O
But he
line.
definitely needs a wide
I think you need
receiver.
a whole new offense.
That
need a
wide
whole
receiver is
new
gonna be
offense.
crucial though in his development, and he also needs an O line. Like
He will have
just
Saquon
need-
back though.
and Saquon's coming
Yeah.
back exactly.
What is
I don't think
Saquon-
it's
what
the
is
Giants though.
Saquon?
I
What
think
Saquon did.
I don't know if the Chargers are like bad. Were bad.
No, the
enough, like,
Chargers too.
the
No, I
Chargers
agree with
weren't
that.
bad
New
enough where
coach.
like you can consider them like the Dolphins, but I think it's them or the Broncos. If the Broncos are somehow
The
get a better
Broncos are
QB.
good. They
Yeah,
have
Miller's back.
they have a good team. Von Miller's out, and
Yeah.
Simmons is a great safety.
No, honestly, I think it's the football team. Football team's gonna come back next
They
The
made
season.
the
football team's
playoffs.
not
They're
improving
already-
without a quarterback.
They're
They're just
competing. We're
not.
competing more. We have Taylor.
They're gonna be
Heineke
500
right now,
every
who's
year until they
looking
get a
like the backup
quarterback.
quarterback.
No,
That
they're
is
gonna be a
not true.
500
We have
team until
the
they get
best
an actual
defense.
quarterback.
Chase Young has looked. like
The Giants have
prime
arguably have a
Watt.
better
That
defense.
is
So how
not
does that
true.
work?
We lost 2 games to the Giants, right?
The Giants held
easily could've
16
won.
points to
We
Seattle.
sold 1
I think it was
game.
15 actually.
The Giants relied on another football team in their own division, a rival, to go to the playoffs. You can't just
The Giants
rely on
lost
another team
4
on the
games
outside.
in a 4-game span by 8 points. They lost to the Bucks by
I'm sorry, the
2.
Broncos
Did you
are
beat the
might
Cowboys
win 9 or
by
10
30
games next
plus?
year.
Like,
The Broncos
I
are
say
good.
this-
That division's so good. It's the
The
Raiders, the
Broncos
Chiefs.
are
Yeah.
With the
Like
Drew
Jerry
Lock-
Judy's gonna get a lot better. They have Melvin Gordon, Philip Lindsay. They just need a new.
And
They
also,
need a QB. I don't think Drew Lock is
whatever
it.
team gets Deshaun Watson, so he's traded, like the Broncos could get
Yeah,
him.
I think the Panthers.
like they
I
could
would
get
say
him.
either the
Deshaun.
Panthers
If the
That team's
Panthers
gonna
get
take the lead.
Deshaun, because Christian McCaffrey's going to be healthy too next year. That
Yeah,
team.
I think they're gonna trade him
yeah,
though
I
to
think,
get him.
yeah, it's,
I was saying
Running back's very replaceable.
Well,
I think
what
there's
pick do
Yeah.
the Broncos have? I
three
think they have
possible
9.
teams. I think there's 3 possible teams that could be like the Dolphins, like you were saying. I think it could be the Panthers if they get Deshaun. I think
Yeah.
Jets.
you guys were saying the Broncos because you guys are also forgetting
The Broncos are good. They have Von Miller and they have a good defense.
Sutton back, and
Yeah.
find some sort of a quarterback. And I also think a sleeper is also the Jaguars because I think if
what
Trevor
they
comes
do.
in and plays well, I mean, you have a good young offense in you have
Jaguars receivers suck.
I know, but you could get some wide receivers.
They're not getting Godwin. Godwin's re-signing with the Bucks. They're gonna franchise tag
They have
him.
like
or
DJ
whatever.
Chark.
I mean, you
They
can
have
say that, but that's like the same argument with the Jets. Like if
James
they have-
Robinson is
Yeah.
really good.
they
No,
have, like,
I'm just talking about a team that's gonna take an
I
actual
don't
like,
think
leap.
I don't think the Jaguars are taking that kind of leap.
Yeah, I don't.
I
I think they'll
consider
go from like what were they 1-15? I think they'll be like
5-6 wins. I
5.
don't consider
Nah,
that
I
a
don't even
leap.
think
though.
they'll win 6. I think they'll be 4 or 5 wins.
it depends what they do with like what they have.
I'm saying a team that's
They have
yeah.
the number 1 draft pick, but it depends. Like that's the same with the Jets. Like
Hey, what was the? We
what are
gotta
they gonna
move
do
on.
with
Move
the
on.
million
Hold
picks?
on, let me just finish this. The Giants, they might not be it next year, but they're gonna be a contender in 2 or 3 years.
That's fair.
If Daniel gets a line
fair,
and
yeah,
a wide
that's true.
receiver.
Contender for what? Winning the division?
Yeah, no, the Super Bowl. What?
Yeah,
I said
I don't
Redskins.
think
you
Washington
can go
football
up with
team is better.
Mahomes.
chance.
I'm gonna be honest with you,
We're going
Jordan.
for
I don't
10-6
think you'll
next year.
ever win a Super Bowl with Daniel Jones as your quarterback.
That's
It's
true.
not possible.
That's
You're
true.
gonna be
Jimmy
able to,
Garoppolo went to a Super Bowl. Same with Jared
He went
Goff.
to a Super Bowl.
Jared,
And Eli went
okay.
to Daniel Jones can
Alright,
turn it
skip,
around.
skip,
Trust
skip.
me.
We're
He
gonna move on.
limited his
Better than
interceptions
Daniel
and
Jones.
fumbles. He's good.
All right, we gotta
Saquon
move on now.
receiver.
Take
We're
gotta
gonna
move
talk
on.
about a quick question right now.
One more question.
When it comes to the Panthers situation, do you think it's a smart decision to trade Christian McCaffrey in order to get Deshaun Watson?
Yes.
I think
It-
Well, it depends what they trade with him.
If they're giving,
What was the
if they're
package
looking
again?
to
It was
give
like him and like 3 first-round picks.
They're looking to give 3 first-round picks, Christian McCaffrey, and some other thing. But I think
Doing that.
honestly, I think it's pretty worth it
mean,
because
how-
running
They're
back is
clearing
pretty
up-
replaceable.
they might
Yeah.
try. They're gonna try, but I don't know if it's.
They're clearing up
I- I
cap
would-
space.
They
Running
if
backs
they
are very
can, if they can get a running back because they already have good. They have Robbie
They have Mike
Anderson.
Davis.
More like
Yeah,
Mike
exactly.
Davis.
Running
Oh,
back's
and they have Curtis
replaceable.
Samuel.
And
Yeah,
they get
But they still
Deshaun
pay Curtis
Watson's
Samuel.
like
Deshaun was
Samuel
so- like-
football team was looking to pick him up.
Deshaun Watson
Deshaun
can
was
be like that
insane. He almost threw
franchise
for
dude.
5,000 yards with like
Honestly, that's actually
best
putting
receiver being
Robbie
Will
Anderson,
And he had the
Fuller.
best PFF grade in the whole
Curtis
league.
Samuel,
And
Yeah, and he's like a good
he's
like
like 25, so you have
Yeah,
like
but
Now,
10
do you
solid
think the
years of a
Panthers can
franchise
become a
QB.
threat? If they
Who?
sign, if they end up getting Deshaun Watson, do you think the Panthers can be a threat in the league?
No,
Mm.
they need
No.
I'm
more.
talking about
No,
top
threat
10,
for
top
what?
5
Like-
team.
I think they'll make the playoffs. Or
I don't even think they'll make the
They're not winning
playoffs.
the division. Their defense sucks.
Yeah,
I
they need to get
also-
the defense.
yeah,
right.
their defense pretty
Their
good.
They
secondary
have
is
a
pretty
few
young.
young players.
but
They
I
have
think they would have a
Chin and Burns, but
yeah.
I don't
They would
think
have
overall
a-
their defense is shit.
I don't think
They
giving
have a
up
tough defense, but
McCaffrey and 3 first and another player for
They have a young defense though.
because I
Yeah,
don't
it's
think
young, but it's like all like
Christian
messed-
they're in the
McCaffrey.
young, but I think they have a threat of an offense.
But Christian
offense,
McCaffrey
is-
right now,
they can
he looks
they have
like
to
a one and a
re-sign
half
Mike
best player.
Davis, and then putting Watson with those receivers is like dangerous, but that defense is pretty bad.
It'll just be like they'll be better than the Cowboys, but they'll just be like the Cowboys and get into a bunch of shootouts.
Yeah, they'll be maybe like 9 wins, maybe a wild card.
I don't
I don't
think
think they're making the playoffs.
I don't think trading on McCaffrey.
I think they'd be 9-7.
You don't think it's worth it?
I don't. I think McCaffrey's like a one in a lifetime player. Like he had a season.
He has like 5 more years though of his
You
prime.
guys are
Watson is like
like,
10.
You guys are forgetting. The year before he got injured, he was debatably one of the best players in the league.
Yeah, him and Saquon are the 2 best running backs in the game, bro.
He had a thousand season.
Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry's just a pure like runner. I'm talking about like
He's the best running back in the league. That's a different conversation.
no, he's
but-
not.
Yeah, he
He's
is.
better than. I guess Saquon's really young, but also Derrick Henry doesn't get injured a lot.
And Christian McCaffrey, I mean,
Both of them are injury prone.
when he-
McCaffrey and Saquon are way more like valuable. Trust me, you'll see this year when they're healthy. They turn around offenses. Henry's a great player, but he's just like a hard hitting like
that's
running
like
back.
that's like saying. But if you're proposing the idea that Christian McCaffrey's should be given up for Deshaun Watson, how would you feel about giving up Saquon and 3 first rounders for Deshaun?
I would,
I don't know
because
because
we have Wayne Gallman already, and Watson's for 10 years. Like he's literally like a top 5 quarterback, probably
All right,
top
we're
3
gonna talk
maybe.
about
Look at-
our
We got-
last segment for today.
you look
Our
at
last
Christian.
segment.
You guys
just
can get out your last couple of.
Actually, I don't know if I would. I think we have a Super Bowl window in like the next 3-4 years, so
Well,
probably
for-
not.
2019, Christian McCaffrey had 2,400 scrimmage yards.
Yeah, Saquon had like 2,000 over 2,000 his rookie year. Also, they're both
Exactly.
super valuable. I don't know.
But you're
I gotta
telling
see
me
how Jones is with him.
Christian McCaffrey at least the next 3 years of your draft capital for the first round, and another player for.
No, I probably wouldn't do that.
Exactly, that's what I'm thinking because there's obviously Deshaun is one of the best quarterbacks in the league, but if you can find someone better than Teddy Bridgewater, maybe in free agency, or where you don't have to trade your star player in Christian McCaffrey, I think it's a better idea. I don't think it's a great idea to go all in with your future on Deshaun
Alright.
and trading your.
Alright,
I'm
we-
only doing that
we
if
gotta
I'm
move
like
it
the
on.
Niners
We got-
and like know that I'm
Think
winning.
about
We gotta
Should
move it
we
on.
run
We
to
gotta
the
move it
last
on. We got
segment?
one more.
Last
Last segment
of the day. MVP race.
for the NBA.
Let's
right
rank
now.
Embiid.
Each of our
Who do you
top
think's gonna
five-
finish?
Top 5, and then we're gonna see who finishes at the top. So I'm gonna start it off with Gavin. You can give us your top 5 quick, and then tell us
Personally,
who
I gotta
yourself.
say Jokic. I mean, he's putting like insane stat lines. Like, I'll be honest, looking at like my fantasy, all I see is triple doubles. I mean, if the Nuggets could like get a few, like, they have to win more. If they can get to the 4th or 3rd seed, I think he's a very like
They're not getting top 3.
4. Maybe if they get 4.
The thing is, no MVP other than Russell Westbrook in the last like 40 years has ever won not being a top 3 seed in their conference.
Yeah, I think you need to be a top 3 seed.
You either need to be a
conference
top 3
unless you're
seed
putting
or
up
literally have record-breaking
insane-
numbers.
You need to have record-breaking.
he's got record
stats.
break. His numbers are.
Gavin,
pretty
who's your top 3? So you got Jokic at number 1.
I have
Who's your
Jokic,
2 and 3?
LeBron, Embiid.
That's
I think right now it's the thing is if the Lakers continue their losing streak without AD, I think LeBron moves down to number 2. I don't know if Joel's going to be healthy enough though, if he's going to play enough games. So I
That's
think
what I was thinking about.
I think the Lakers need to turn up at this point. I think they need to go like they have a pretty weak schedule coming up. I know they play the Wizards today. LeBron needs to prove that he can win a good amount of games without AD, which he's done in the past. He's won without stars, so I know he can. And if he keeps up those numbers, I think that would be the most impressive MVP ever, being 36.
I agree with that.
This
and
could
I
be
think,
pretty controversial. Love, you want to go?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I right now have LeBron at 3 just because of the Lakers' recent downfall without AD, and AD I think is out for the next 4+ weeks, so it's really gonna be like you were saying, Chris, a testament to LeBron if he can keep a winning record without AD. But right now I have Joel at 1, Jokic at 2, LeBron at 3, Curry at 4, and Lillard at 5. But I think the way the Warriors and the Blazers, their record is right now, I think you can pretty much take them out unless a big turnaround goes around with their record. I think the top 3 to really look at are Joel, Jokic, and LeBron. I think, once again, record-wise, Jokic will be knocked out. And I think it really depends. If LeBron can win without AD steadily here for the next couple of weeks, he takes it home. And if they get a high seed. But, I mean, Joel is just playing, like, on a different level than we've seen recently from him. And to say that like he hasn't been an MVP caliber player the past couple of years and been putting up those type of stats, debatably the best center in the league, and now we're just seeing what Joel Embiid can be for the next couple of years. He's really showing us how good he can be as a player. To play alongside players like Tobias and Ben Simmons, who are still getting their 20+ points a night, I think it's insane. And I think right now my top 2 for the rest of the season would be Joel and LeBron. If Joel can stay healthy, I think he wins it. If LeBron can keep up his winning without AD for the next couple of weeks, he'll win it.
Yeah, my top 3 is pretty controversial. I think that Joel is definitely undisputed at number 1. I think if he can stay healthy, he will easily win MVP. He's the most dominant center in the league right now. I'm not really too high on Jokic right now. I
Just don't have enough wins.
Record is going to kick him out. But in saying that, I have LeBron at number 2 and Jokic at number 3, but that could change depending on how the Lakers respond to losing.
Although
AD.
Nikola Jokic is shooting 50, 40, 90. I don't think a center has ever shot 50, 40, 90. He's averaging like, what is he on?
He's putting up stats that have only been seen by Wilt right now.
27, 11, and 9. Yeah, those are crazy numbers for a center.
My number 4 is definitely Damian Lillard. I think he's the most underrated player in the league right now. He's a superstar caliber player, and I mean, I know people are starting to respect him a lot more, but I feel like besides the record, if they can turn it around and become maybe like I'm not even sure their seed right now, but if they can come back and start getting more wins, and if CJ comes back and they just become really like a threat in the West, I feel like he can win the MVP. Easily.
For me, number 4 is definitely Giannis.
They're the 5th seed. They're not doing too bad.
Giannis is averaging Giannis still averaging 20, 28, 12, and 6. Like,
all right, let me give my top.
Yeah,
as a team, they're not really they're not connected as a team, in my opinion.
Chris,
all right, let me
talk about it.
Let me get my top. All right, Embiid. Who do you think is winning defensive player this year?
Ben Simmons. It's not even a discussion.
Embiid also is playing great on defense.
He's playing great defense.
Their whole team, but come on.
Around the rim, he's just such like a big presence, and he's like he's the most dominant center. He's the most dominant center right now since Shaq. Like right now, how he's playing.
Yeah.
He's also. They're the one. Shut up. They're the 1 seed, and also like he literally like killed AD in the paint up until that LeBron like flagrant that he did.
He's not a center.
I mean, I think he should because he's not a center.
AD is matching up against Embiid though because they don't have anyone to guard him. Like it perfectly proves my point. They're like, there's no like big center who he's gonna be going up against in, like the playoffs that can like really guard him. I don't even think anyone in the league can guard him right now. Like Jokic isn't the best defender, and they're not even gonna match up in the finals. Yep. And also his numbers on offense are like insane. Like he's winning them games like time and time again. He's the clear MVP.
That 50-point game he had the other day did probably moved him up to number 1 right now.
So yeah.
And LeBron,
defensive player of the year, definitely the runner-up. I think it's definitely going to be Ben Simmons.
I think we should save this. I think we should save this.
Yeah, well, hold on. Let me just finish it. But like LeBron, he's not going to win with AD, and that's just going to slide him like down the ladder even more and like prove that he needs him to win. So like I don't think
every star needs another star.
Chris, do you not have Curry in your top 5 for MVP?
I don't think they just don't have.
He was for like a week, but not anymore.
Here's
He
my
is
take,
averaging
I
insane
think that
stats,
Do
but
you have Lillard in your top 5?
I have I have Lillard above Curry just because of the wins.
Same.
The Warriors should easily catch up though.
They should.
If they didn't lose that game the other day to the Hornets with the stupid Draymond Tech, they
That
would
was the rest.
be
I
the
mean,
7th seed right
When
now.
does the Wiseman come back, or is he back?
Or 6
Curry's
seed.
averaging
Yeah, Wiseman's been out
1.3
too.
net
I
in
mean,
his
you also have to think about
Yeah.
the Warriors have been
So
playing
I think-
for the past 2 weeks.
And the
I mean,
standings aren't even like really real right now because of all the COVID postpones.
Mhm.
Like the Warriors have played 4 more games than the Spurs. They've played like the Grizzlies have only played 26 games. Every other team's played like 35 or like 30 to 35 games.
Yeah,
I
in
think-
both
I think
conferences,
thing is
the
that they
like
come back to every week.
You really have to wait till the end of the year to see standings.
literally the 7 through 14 is a 4-game difference, probably.
In what, the East?
No, just the West, and then the East. It's literally like, for example, like Orlando's a 12 seed, and they're only 3 games out of the 4 seed. Like, it's crazy.
Oh, yeah, they are 3 games out.
Orlando's too injured though. I can't see them.
No, I don't
They're playing
think,
really good.
but the Knicks
now.
are have the same amount of wins as the Pacers and have 1 less than the Raptors.
The
All right,
Raptors and
we're
Heat are
gonna
both
have to
finishing
wrap it
above
up.
the
That's
Knicks.
why my opinion changed on the Nets because of how weak the East is this year. But we could say that for another time.
Yeah, but the Raptors and Heat are finishing above the Knicks, I think. But
Yeah,
they're playing
we're
the
gonna
7 through 10, so it doesn't even matter.
If you
Like, I'm
Thank you.
pretty sure it is.
if you compare
Coming
the
to the
records
first
between the West and
podcast
the East,
of
Yeah.
6Y.
I believe
Hey,
that
you
was a
wanna
great
finish it off?
episode. Yeah, I think that was a great
All right, that's
episode.
it.
We had some great takes, and I want to thank you for watching Second Take.
That's to go in the finals and winning it over the
We'll be
Clippers.
going to the finals. Go check out our socials, and we'll see you in the next episode. Thank you very much.